CNN is learning Iran has begun laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz. This is according to two people familiar with the matter. It's another major complication as the world's top oil exporter warns there could be, quote, catastrophic consequences for oil markets if the conflict keeps disrupting ship and oil tanker traffic through the strait. He says beyond upending shipping and insurance, the ongoing disruption could snowball, threatening aviation, agriculture, and other industries. A short time ago, the White House repeated President Trump's promise to provide government-backed insurance as well as naval escorts to keep tankers moving. So far, those shipping companies are resisting traveling through the region while the fighting goes on. Let's talk about this now with CNN business editor-at-large Richard Quest. He's also the anchor of Quest Means Business. Richard, what first do you make of this breaking news, mines in the Strait of Hormuz, happening amid the backdrop of the Trump administration threatening to, sort of rain down on Iran if they do anything in the Strait?
What it shows clearly is how relatively, note I use that word, easy it is for Iran to cause absolute mayhem, havoc and chaos with the global shipping. You see, they threaten of whether they actually lay the mines or not. We'll only have to wait and see. You've got the perspective of the drones and or missiles. You've got an entire choke point that you're looking at. And all that the West can do, or that President Trump and others can do, is offer these rather poor substitutes. Insurance, for escorting of vessels. I spoke to the CEO earlier of Maersk Shipping, the largest in the world, and he basically said, look, you can give me all the insurance you like, but if it's not safe, I ain't sending my ships, my container ships, through the strait. And he said, and as for escorting, it's just too difficult. Now, they've got 10 ships stuck in the northern Gulf. They've got many more on the way. It gives you an idea of why what the president said yesterday might sound good in sound bites, but is very difficult to actually put into play and terribly easy to overturn.
So, taking a look at the effects of this, Richard, you have several industry experts saying if the strait remains as it is, and I know we hear the Trump administration threatening if they do anything with the strait. Well, the strait is paralyzed, right? But these experts are saying with very little traffic moving through, crude could reach $150 a barrel by the end of the month. If oil is going to go that high, what kind of impact does that have on the world economy? Not just gas, but anything that's petroleum dependent.
Oh, well, let's just go through the list. Besides gasoline, transportation, fertilizer, plastics, all sorts of manufacturing, transportation. Heating, just for homes, pays your money, it takes your choice. Most of the oil in that part of the world goes east towards China and Southeast Asia, but the global market sets the price. And that's why, as you and I were talking yesterday, it's highly unlikely there'll be massive lines in the United States, but the price is set globally, and therefore the US will feel the effect. Consumers in the US will be noticing it today. It will get worse. This idea of 150, by the way, could it happen? I've no idea. Is it possible? Absolutely. Is it likely? No one knows. That is the reality here. It is simply a mass of knowns of unknowns.
The United States has hit and completely destroyed 10 inactive mine-laying boats near the Strait of Hormuz. That's according to a post from President Trump earlier this afternoon. He adds there, quote, with more to follow, unquote. Iran's chokehold over the Strait of Hormuz is becoming more dire by the day. Close to 15 million barrels of oil are stuck in the Gulf region, cut off from moving beyond this crucial water passage for 20% of the world's oil, with Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps warning any ship will be attacked. Sources told CNN earlier this afternoon that Iran had begun laying mines in recent days. Following those reports, President Trump posted, quote, if Iran has put out any mines in the Hormuz Strait and we have no reports of them doing so, we want them removed immediately. If for any reason mines were placed and they are not removed forthwith, the military consequences to Iran will be at a level never seen before. If, on the other hand, they remove what may have been placed, it will be a giant step in the right direction, unquote. That post was only about 40 minutes before his announcement that the U.S. had destroyed the 10 inactive mine-laying boats. You've probably felt the impacts of Iran's grip on the Strait of Hormuz from 8,000 miles away or so here in the U.S. over the last 11 days, paying an average of 56 cents more for a gallon of gas from when this war began. The president and the White House are sticking to their script that those price hikes at the pump are nothing to worry about.
The recent increase in oil and gas prices is temporary, and this operation will result in lower gas prices in the long term. Once the national security objectives of Operation Epic Fury are fully achieved, Americans will see oil and gas prices drop rapidly, potentially even lower than they were prior to the start of the operation.
Let's bring in CNN's Caitlin Collins, who's at the White House for us today. Caitlin, the White House press secretary fielded a bunch of questions today about the Strait of Hormuz and the rising price of oil.
Yeah, Jake, I mean, these wild swings in the oil market have been top of mind here at the White House, certainly top of mind for their voters and really for all Americans, given the numbers that you were just showing and how much the prices at the pump have changed and just the swings that we've seen based on comments made by President Trump before the markets closed, after the markets closed, a tweet from the Energy Secretary, Chris Wright, earlier today, where he said and seemed to be announcing some breaking news that the United States Navy had basically taken and escorted a tanker through the Strait of Hormuz, something that the president has said for many days now is potentially an option here. But then quickly, Jake, that tweet was deleted, and the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, at that same briefing confirmed that the United States Navy has not escorted any tankers to the Strait of Hormuz yet. And so obviously that changed because it had made people quite optimistic that potentially we were going to start seeing some more traffic moving through there. And instead, Jake, only the opposite seems to be true with Iran and this reporting now that that CNN has that they are laying new mines there, with the president saying he has not personally seen reports of that, but threatening Iran should they continue to do so. One other thing that Caroline Leavitt said earlier about this prospect of the Navy escorting tankers through the Strait of Hormuz, Jake, was that it is still an option if and when necessary. If you look at the markets, they may argue that time is now, because obviously that is what is affecting these prices, why you're seeing so much concern over what this is going to look like going forward. But right now, Jake, we know that this still has not happened yet. We did see an update from CENTCOM just a few moments ago, Jake, as I was walking over here to the camera, where they posted this video showing the U.S. military going after several Iranian boats, including some of the ones that they say are potentially going to be laying mines or dedicated to doing so in the Strait of Hormuz. You can obviously see what is happening to them here.
I think this is the nightmare scenario that we've been concerned about for 3 decades, that their Straits of Hormuz would get shut down as a consequence of a major issue within the Straits. That's 18 million barrels of oil every single day that are not coming to market. There's another 6 million barrels that are actually being shut in right now. The top priority for this administration, after they take care of the issue in Iran, is to get the Straits back open. This isn't just affecting American consumers, but consumers all over the globe.
So they talk about Navy escorts being offered for oil tankers, and the president saying basically he said, I think, quote, show some guts to the captains of the oil tankers. What's the response of your industry to that your tankers need to show some guts and go with the Navy through the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, there's 2 things here. First of all, they did provide some kind of a backstop for insurance. That was an important step as well. And the escorts, of course, are going to be an important component of this. But this is an industry that is very focused on workforce safety. We've been focused on safety for decades and decades. We're not going to put our workforce in danger in the Straits of Hormuz. We have to get them open. We have to make clear that this is not going to be tolerated by the world market. And I think what we're starting to see now is other countries put pressure on Iran to get the Straits back open as quickly as possible.
Your industry, there's a lot of money in your industry. I'm sure that they don't just rely on what they see when they go into a strait or a passageway. They have security, they have some sort of surveillance. What are you hearing about the Iranians mining the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, we can only say what we've been hearing from the administration itself. Our industry is working very closely with the Navy and the armed forces right now. They're an important component to ensure safe passage through the Straits. So what we're hearing right now is we're not quite there yet, but we need to make sure that we get them open as quickly as possible, because this isn't just about oil. This is about fertilizer and ammonia and food and potable water. This could be a real crisis if we don't get it open soon.
And normally about 60 to 100 boats, oil tankers, get through the strait every day, and now it's zero? The last time a global conflict impacted oil prices was when Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022. And airfare prices shot up almost immediately because of the effect on jet fuel. So far, that has not been the case with this conflict. Do you expect that we will see that, though?
We have seen a lot of volatility in the oil markets so far. We just don't know what the answer is going to be at this point. What I do know is that American production is serving as a buffer for world oil prices. When we were dealing with these kinds of situations 30 years ago, the United States was a net oil importer.
Right.
Now we are a net oil exporter. That has provided the energy security that this country needs to make sure that we can have these kinds of conflicts and not see a lot of impact on the pump. But the longer this goes on, the more volatility there's going to be, and consumers are going to continue to see prices go up.
What's the price right now for a barrel of oil? What is it?
Right now, we closed today about $80.
$80. And how high do you think it's going to go?
We just don't know. We can't predict future prices. But of course, as an industry, what we're focused on is stability and security for these barrels of oil and for our workforce. But we're very concerned that if the straits remain closed for a few more weeks, there's going to be a significant impact.